Hey, busy moms, we are going to Disney World, and by the likes of it, you are thinking about going to Disney World or you're going yourself. And today we are going to plan everything start to finish, starting with choosing when is the right time to actually go to Disney World. We're going to talk about budgeting, booking the actual accommodations, dining options. We're going to talk about magical extras, then give you some tips and tricks on going to actually Disney World with your kids, prepping for that, and I'm gonna throw in a free planning tool. Let me finish cleaning up my 4-year-old's room and we'll jump into this. And let's be honest, picking the time of the year that you're gonna go to Disney World is actually the most confusing part or first step when deciding to go to Disney World. There's so many factors. One of the most popular questions that I receive from all of my friends is, when is the right time to go? Is it too crowded? Is it too hot? Is it too cold? Is it too rainy? And I think all of these questions are very valid. And I have to think through it myself. So let's break this down. As an avid Disney World goer and an annual pass holder, we do go quite a bit. And sometimes I'm like, well, I'm gonna do a little bit more of a resort type of trip, or we're gonna go to the parks a lot. Morning, take a midday break, and then go of the evening. So there's a lot of various tips and tricks on how to really maximize and enjoy the trips. So let's just start out with what is accommodating to you in your personal life, because we can get through all of the other things with being strategic with how we're gonna go and when we're gonna go. In the month of January, and I will say that a lot of people love to go in the winter, and I don't have anything against the winter, but I kind of do have something against the winter, because every time that we go in the month of January, we always ironically go on that 1 week that has record-breaking cold temperatures, and it's cold. On the other side of that, the crowds are amazing. So if you are contemplating in going in the winter, the crowds are really great. And if you're on a budget that is lower peak time, so the accommodations are gonna be a little bit more cheaper, maybe get some better deals out there, and then you don't have to spend as much money on lightning lanes. So on those peak times, I would really encourage you or highly suggest that you probably need to utilize the lightning lanes, because time is money at Disney World. If you are really thinking about a budget standpoint, the winter months such as January and February are something to think about. Now, some people might say, well, all of the cheer and dance competitions start rolling in the month of February. And it's going to be one of those things that I'm going to encourage you. The temperature is good. The crowds I would consider very moderate, and that's when you're gonna have to bring some strategy in. So I'm gonna be pretty repetitive with this thought process, because every time that I try to break down when is the best time to go to Disney World, there's always a caveat of, let's be strategic, let's do this a certain way. So let's continue to break down these months. The month of March is super fun, because I love the festivals at Epcot, and the Flower and Garden Festival might be one of my favorites. March is such a lovely time to go, and it doesn't have that crazy heat quite yet that we're going to see in the next couple of months. Of course, we still have those cheer and dance competitions, and if you're going to be staying at an all-star resort, you're going to see a lot of that and a lot more hustle and bustle versus what you might be used to. Going on to April, now this is when it's going to start picking up. You've got that March into April transition where the spring breaks are hitting, and spring breaks might be best for you because your kids are in school, or maybe you're a teacher, or it just works out for your life. Just keep that in mind, that spring breaks are like the outliers. That's whenever things get a little crazy. Those are going to be peak crowd times. So again, we're going to talk a little bit later about the strategy, working through the crowds.
the heat is going to be just fine. You're going to have some heat, but it's not going to be blaring hot. May is really whenever it starts to get a little bit warmer. And of course, you're going to hit that Memorial Day weekend where a lot of locals are going to come into the parks if they're not on a blackout date. And they're going to come in the park. So you might see a little bit more crowds. But this is where I feel the heat is ramping up. We're going to go into the summer. We've got June, July, and this is where all the summer breaks are. And this is super, super accommodating for large families or just a family in general with children. This is where all the kids are out of school and they've got really, really great deals. Generally, Walt Disney World starts running some fantastic deals for families, whether that being like the dining plan, or I've seen like the $99 a day for families, like for the tickets. You've got 30% off, 25% off of the accommodations on the resorts. So there's a bunch of packages of like a hotel and a ticket type of combination. The more you buy, the more you save type of thing. So make sure to be checking out the Disney website for additional savings. Specifically, like this time really to me is known of when you're going to be able to save some money. And again, back to those crowd levels, you're going to be a hit and miss during the summer because you do have two major holidays of Memorial Day and you have 4th of July weekend. I think it's on a weekend this year. So those weekends are going to vamp up. But I will say that I have literally shown up to a park on July 5th and it is night and day. And of course, it just depends on like when actually 4th of July is landing on the calendar. But I have really, really seen a big difference between like a pre-holiday and then as soon as the holiday's over, the crowd level really, really drops off. So that is great. We're going through the summer. Again, if you are really trying to save some money, I really think that that's when Disney is trying to help all of their guests save some money because pretty much all the kids are out. August and September. Now, to me, I find August and September really hot. Like I can manage June and July, but for some reason, August and September burns me up. But on the other side, more so like the winter months that we were talking about, like the extreme weather, but the low crowds, this to me is going to be another example of that. Kids start going back to school in August and their September is right before that holiday season. They've started transitioning to Magic Kingdom like in the holiday decorating, but the crowds are still very, very manageable. So that is something to consider if you can handle the heat or figure out some tips or listen to me a little bit later for some tips battling the heat. But actually, August and September is one of our favorite times to go to Disney World because it is warm. I would prefer warm over the cold. I like to feel the sun on me. My husband is not the same. But anyway, the other side of this talking about weather is it's hurricane season. So that's another reason why the crowd levels are rather lower because it's going to rain a little bit more. The likelihood of a hurricane coming during that time is pretty high. So that's good. That hurricane season is going to also run into October, a little early November. But then October hits and you're going to start feeling like those fall breaks and the holiday crowds. And this is where the prices actually start going up. When you're thinking about November and December and beginning of November is whenever they start transitioning over from Halloween into the Christmas decorations, you're going to see those prices go up really high. Of course, you can catch a deal, but the prices are a lot higher because this would be what Disney World considers as a peak time, and the crowd levels are up here. they're there's no comparison. Like, if you do not want to be near crowds, in my opinion and in my experiences, if you don't want crowds, do not go in November and December. It is magical. It is so beautiful. And I love, like, it just puts me in the Christmas spirit. And I love going to the Christmas parties. I also love going to the Halloween party. That one's really fun, where you trick or treat all around Magic Kingdom. It's a special ticketed event. Highly recommend. After this video, go check those vlogs out, because I went to all 3 holiday parties last year. Mickey's Not So Very Scary Halloween party. We went to Mickey's Very Merry Christmas party, and we went to Jollywood and Hollywood Studios. So highly recommend. They're not as crazy from a crowd standpoint, but if you're wanting to be away from the crowds, consider it. But, and also the prices are really, really high, but I mean, it's just so magical. I mean, you cannot beat Snope on Main Street. So take it as you will. I would really just prioritize what's best for your family. Like, you are busy, your life is busy, your kids may be in school, you may be a working mom, your husband may be a working father. Like, I would prioritize what's best for your family and what fits into your family's schedule in life, and we'll plan the rest of it with this video. But that is a really, really popular question. Like, when do I go to Disney World?
We've picked out what time of year we're going to go to Disney World. Now it's time to talk about the finances. I know, not super fun, but necessary. So whenever you're planning your trip to Disney World, it's very, very, very important to note that you have to be realistic in everything. So where are your priorities at as a family? Is your priorities just the park? Are you that family that's going to just get up in the morning, you're going to early entry, and you're going to close out the park? Maybe it would be ideal, if you are on a budget, to stay at a value resort such as the All-Star resorts, which are more so like more of your saving type of resorts. Or you have some of my favorite value resorts with Pop Century and Art of Animation. I love those resorts because they are right on the Skyliner and they're super, super fun and colorful. And I don't prefer the buses. So whenever I am planning my trip and I am trying to be very budget friendly, I don't necessarily like love the All-Stars because I loathe the buses. Because a lot of times I'm going on these trips without my husband, and it's just myself and my 4-year-old, and to have to figure out that stroller on every single park day, it's just not super fun. So that's one of those considerations that I have to think about whenever I'm going to Disney World. Yes, Pop Century and Art of Animation are a little bit more expensive than the All-Star resorts, but it is worth it to spend just that little bit of extra money to stay at a Skyliner resort. You also have your moderate resorts that are a little bit more expensive. They have a little bit more amenities. And then you have your deluxe resorts. And those are typically, they have more amenities, but also more modes of transportation. They typically, again, have various different types of water parks, various types of restaurants, etc. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Back to the budgeting. So really, whenever you're trying to pick your accommodation, budgeting, I realize that is something that is important to a lot of you guys. So try to think about where your budget lies. Now, I'm going to hop on my computer and I'm going to pull up the Disney World website. So on this main page, we can scroll down and there's always a save with specials offers. So you can click on the view all offers. And this could go into also figuring out what time of year that you really want to go in based off of the promotions that you're running. When there's a promotion, I'm able to save money somewhere. Why would I not just like kind of change my dates, because I have a little bit of flexibility, change my dates to be able to fit in some sort of promotion that is going to save me money. And at the time of this video, we are at the end of February, and here are all kinds of different
promotions. You've even got promotions for other Disney parks or Disney resorts, like you've got the Alani, etc. But for the purpose of this video, I'm going to show you kind of ideally what I have planned for my next Disney trip, which is in the month of March. So most of this trip is booked. It's ready. I've been a little lazy on some of my reservations, but I'll take you along with some tips and tricks a little bit later on how I am able to grab some of those hard to get reservations, even though we are less than 30 days away from our trip. And reservations, you have to be 60 days for them, but we are going in the month of March. And so as you can see, there's save up to 25% on rooms at select Disney resort hotels in the early of 2025. I am an annual pass holder, so there are different options for that as well. But just to be friendly, because I realize that not everybody is an annual pass holder, we can go here and you'll see that there's different types of savings, and it breaks it down for you with the different types of resorts. And keep a note that it does say save up to 25% off, so don't get hung up on the wording, but it does break it down for you. And then these specific dates, February 25th to April 30th, and you can kind of see and play with the different types of savings. So I think that's really, really nice that they break that down for you. So let's go ahead and check the availability, and let's just put some dates in. So let's go for we'll just go with whatever that is that it just automatically put in there. And it's just Annie and I. Now there will be additional charges whenever you have more than 2 adults or maybe more than 1 adult. I really do need to look that up, but there are additional fees for your family the more people that are in one room. But I think that's very typical of hotels, just normal life. So this breaks it down. It's just Annie and I. Actually, I do think that they don't charge over 2 people, because we don't get charged because Annie is a child, so we don't get charged for the extra fee. So if there's more than 2 adults in there, I think, then you get charged. I think that's what it is. But here you can break it down, and you'll see that the differences of like the standard rack rate on the left, and then you'll see the average night on the right. And that's just Disney picks. If you are on a budget and you're trying to save some money anywhere that you can, this is breaking it down for you. Now, I know we mentioned Disney All-Stars Resort was one of the least expensive ones, but if I could guess, this is going to be one of those that are one of the nicer rooms, and or there's something going on crazy, like an event, like a Disney Run event, and they don't have necessarily that many rooms left. So that could possibly be a thing. Oh, yep, it's a family suite. It's a family suite, and you can see like the standard cheaper rooms are all booked up. But let's go ahead and go back. So yeah, All Stars does have suites. They can get expensive, but if you have a large family, now speaking about it, that's a really great option for you. Port Orleans Riverside at $288, and you're saving that $97. So actually, we've got 20 up to 25. You're saving $159 on Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge. So now again, this is like a last minute look on the prices. So this is not really a great reflection of the prices because we're so close to it. Let's get a little bit more of a realistic time frame and price point. So let's go to one of our very favorite times of the year to plan a trip. So let's see that. So here you have a lot more options, and you've got the campsite. So if you didn't know that, you can camp at Disney World, and that's going to always be your least expensive option. And then here we go. Now you have your all-star resorts that are $149. And now keep in mind that this is not a reflection of the promotions. So things are going to get cheaper. So you got the Art of Animation at $235. And I'll also note that this is probably one of those moments that I can share with you guys that I always highly recommend getting a travel agent. Now, travel agents are 99% of the time free to you to use, and they just take really the load off of you. Now, whenever you book through Disney, like if you booked it yourself, you're going to be doing all the work, all the research, keeping up with all of the savings that are, that Disney puts out. A travel agent's job is to keep an eye on all of that, and they are fantastic at what they do. Now, whenever you purchase through the Disney World's website, if you're like, I'm not going to go with the Disney travel agent because they're just too expensive, that's not the case. Like, you're going to be charged a travel agent fee regardless, and Disney's going to pocket that money back into their pockets. So if you have a friend that's a travel agent and you just want to be helpful to them, like, they don't even have to do the work. Maybe you do want to do all the work, but I'm all about supporting women. I'm all about supporting your friends. So it is what it is. That's my little plug on getting a travel agent. If you are in the market for getting a travel agent or you need a travel agent, I will have mine in the description box. Go check her out. She has helped me for years, even though I go a ton. I still use a travel agent. She's just an extra eye on deals, extra eye on reservations. I've been in a Disney World park before, and she's like, hey, I got you Topolino's reservation for tomorrow because you've been wanting it. So like, I wasn't even keeping up with it because I was in the park having fun. She knew that I still wanted a Topolino's reservation, so she got it for me. So it's just an extra eye. Highly recommend getting a travel agent. But anyway, back to this. So again, you can always go and see what types of deals that they are offering, and it will just make life so much easier. So going back to those dates, I put in August, but they've got like this featured offer. And then also in the year of 2025, whenever you are staying on property, so one of the Disney World actual resorts, your first day, like your arrival day, you can go to a Disney World park for free, and that is one of the water parks such as Blizzard Beach or Typhoon Lagoon, and we actually have those a part of our annual passes, and we love going there. So that is also something that you can do, add a little extra magic in there for you and your family. Now, these are special offers and discounts. Now let's also talk about the tickets. Now, if you're not trying to stay on property, the tickets are going to be a little bit more expensive for you because these bundle deals typically come with the tickets. Now let me show you that just for funsies on what that will kind of look like from a price point. And the more tickets that you buy, like the more days that you go, the cheaper the tickets actually get. So let me pick like a moderate, or actually let's see. Let's do Disney's Caribbean. Sorry, I'm so indecisive. I really love the Caribbean resort. It's a modern resort. You've got the Skyliner. You have the food options of the Riviera right next to you. It's got a really great splash pad for kids for a moderate resort, so I really do love it. It is a large resort, but if you have a travel agent, they can put in special requests for you that they're going to be a little bit more knowledgeable of what is best for you and your family and put those requests in. There are requests. You're not always guaranteed, but I'm telling you, the last time we stayed at the Caribbean, our travel agent got us like the most perfect location. It was right smack dab right in the middle and across the bridge. So whenever you go across the bridge, that's like the main area with like the splash pad and like the eateries, all the things. But see, you can see like there's the room, and then you can click on the package and you can see that you've got like the total, and then you can click on this rate details. It includes a 7-day park ticket, but you don't even have to do that. You can just go ahead and click here. Must be a lot going on today because it's pretty slow. So here's the days that you can select the number of days of tickets that you want to do. So of course it's one adult and one child, so that's going to vary. So let's go ahead and say that we're just going to do 4 park days, 1 park day for each, 1 ticket for each park. And then so you can do the 1 park per day. There's a park hopper option where you can go to multiple parks in one day. Maybe you want to start in Animal Kingdom and then you want to finish the day out with Magic Kingdom. And here's the water park and sports option. So if you wanted to go to the water parks more than just your arrival day, that's the option for you. And then you've got the Park Hopper Plus option, which allows you to go to the water parks in addition to the actual parks. So if you went with the water park and sports option, I do want to clear that up. If you did the water park and sports option, you can only go to the water park. Done. You can't go to Magic Kingdom, Animal Kingdom, etc. But if you did the Park Hopper Plus, you can go to all 4 parks and the water parks and like the ESPN thing. And I'm almost positive that with this, you can do like the mini golf courses as well. You can do Disney Oaks Trail Golf Course. So there's a bunch of options. And I mean, honestly, it's only $100 and some change dollars of a difference to have a little bit more freedom. But again, if you are on a budget, like that's probably not ideal for you. And honestly, it's a lot more simple from a planning standpoint as well, that you can just know, like, today is Animal Kingdom, we're doing Animal Kingdom, and I don't have to really figure out a whole other park. Even with an annual pass, sometimes I actually just do Hollywood Studios in the morning and Hollywood Studios at night. So it's up to an option for you. But let's go ahead and just do one park a day. And then you would just continue. And then really the price for those days is, so you've got August 16th through the 22nd, and that is no dining plan. And then the 4 park tickets. So if you wanted to add a dining plan on here, you've got the Disney dining plan that is going to be 1 table service meal, 1 quick service meal, 1 snack or non-alcoholic drink. You do get a refillable mug, which I really do like those. If you don't have the dining plan, I think they're like $24. They're great souvenirs, honestly. But you can get all kinds of drinks at all qualifying drink stations. You can get coffee, tea, water, and like all those drinks. Annie loves the Powerades. And then plus redeem your meals for special dining experiences, including character dining. So that's going to be an extra $800. And then you've got just like the more inexpensive one, that's going to be just the Disney quick service dining plan, 2 quick service meals, no table services, and 1 snack. And then you do get that refillable mug. So let's just say for funsies, we're going to do the Disney dining plan. So this is per person ages 3 and up. So again, we're just planning this trip just for Annie and I. We're at a moderate resort, so the accommodation can get a little bit cheaper. But we're just kind of hitting that middle ground of like what is worth my money type of thing. And then, so the Skyliner is really, really helpful. Let's do the Disney dining plan. So this is our 4 tickets. We've got a Disney dining plan, and then we actually have our accommodations as well. And here is the breakdown of it all. Of course, you do get the early entry whenever you are a Disney World hotel guest. That just means that the public can't get in essentially 30 minutes before actual park opening, but you can. So they'll have like early entry, you scan in, and you get 30 minutes extra before people that are staying off property do. So that's something else that is it worth the money staying on property to get an extra 30 minutes in the parks? That could either A, get you in line for one of the most popular attractions before the public get in, and or like us, I mean, Magic Kingdom, we can do like 3 to 5 rides all in 30 minutes. Like if all the rides are close together, like in the Storybook Circus in the back, like you can do a lot of rides in just that 30 minutes. So just really weighing that out. Then you have the Memory Maker. The Memory Maker, you'll have all those PhotoPass cast members all over the park, and this also includes your ride pictures. So you've got all of those, the magic shots. I believe that is $99 unless they've raised the price. So you've got, let's go ahead and add that on just for funsies. Now, if you do not want the memory maker and you want family photos, it always just makes me really sad whenever I'm seeing people like doing selfies of just their family. And I'm always like, let me just take your picture. But another hack that you could do, and especially if you have like a stroller, it's even easier, but buy one of those like octopus stands and you can put your phone on there, put the timer on there and take a good picture. Now, I've had some of my favorite pictures done that way, but of course we do have the memory maker on our annual passes, so I find that it's worth it. But we pay for like the $99 for all year round, so that's a little bit more, that makes more sense. And then you can also add your ground transportation, like from a car rental from Alamo, but I prefer either A, you can take a charter bus through Mears. That is actually really inexpensive. You don't have to worry about car seats. As soon as you get to the airport, you're there. If you are driving to Disney World, you just don't have to worry about it at all. And also you get free parking when you're staying on Disney property. And then we use private transportation. Again, it's a little bit more expensive, but it's a little bit easier for me, especially whenever Annie and I are traveling by ourselves. They do come with someone that is there to help us, like a chauffeur, and they bring us directly to our resort and they pick us right up at the airport as well. So you can also add travel protection. And then if you are just like your typical non-annual pass holder, non-DVC, in order to book everything that you have, you only need $200 down. That's it. And it just holds your spot. It holds your deal. And you just have to pay it before 30 days of your arrival day. You just have to pay it off. So you can hold that deal, you can hold that spot for only $200. So right now, you need to be thinking about that, talking with your spouse and figuring out, it's only going to be $200 to ensure that we're going to go to Disney World before price changes or price hikes. Can I not words? But also, again, back to that travel agent thing, like you can book that $200, but if a better deal comes around, they're going to make sure that you're taken care of with saving you additional money. So I've even seen some travel agents out there, a better deal came along or a deal came along, and they've actually were able to upgrade them and still save them money. So they had first dibs on like the block of that room or like the specifics of the reservation. So that is really, really nice to see. Now, if we did go up one person, up one adult and one kid, then now an adult ticket for kids, as soon as they turn 10, that's where the adult ticket starts happening. The price is going to go up a little bit more, but as long as they are 9 and under, they get the kid ticket price. Also talking about kids, kids at 3, not 2 days and 50, or not 2 years and 50 weeks. Like, they are free, but as soon as they hit that 3-year mark, they have to pay for a child ticket. So let's see what this price looks like. A typical or average family that is of 4. And we're going to do the package. We'll do like the cheapest option. So we'll go with the standard. We're going to update our offer. We're going to do the 4 tickets. We're going to do the 1 park per day, continue on because we do have that arrival day at the water park. Remember that. And then we're going to do the dining plan because we want to see some characters. And then we'll continue on. And then we'll add the memory maker. All right, so then this is going to be your price for a moderate resort. So this can get cheaper and it can get more expensive. So we're right in the middle of the accommodation. So some budget saving tips that if you did not want to get the Disney dining plan, I love to order groceries through Amazon and have them delivered. So that I do breakfast in the room and I buy a bunch of snacks. I also buy water and have it delivered. So that's a big saving. So we don't have to worry about our fruit. We don't have to worry about Annie being like, I need a snack. You can bring a lunchbox in the parks with you. Just you cannot have loose ice. So if you wanted to get a Ziploc bag and put ice in it from the ice machine to keep all of your goodies cool, that's an option. That's going to save you some money. But there are budget saving tips that you can do. Like I said, you can take pictures yourself and that works just as fine. Or you can get a value resort and do the charter bus for transportation or go less park days. So maybe you want to do the math of, should I do 3 park tickets and then the park hopper option to be able to go to Animal Kingdom, because Animal Kingdom's hours, they're not open as long in the day, but they open earlier. So like, is my family gonna truly wake up for 7:30 a.m. to be at Animal Kingdom? I don't know. So this is just a general synopsis of the prices from like a medium high. I would say this is a medium high price. But of course, you can always go lower or you can always get more expensive depending on the accommodation. If you wanted to go up to a deluxe resort, such as like the Grand Floridian, the Riviera, the Polynesian, you've got Wilderness, Animal Kingdom Lodge, or I have a video coming out that is going to be breaking down on how I save 40 to 65% off of deluxe resorts. Now, make sure to subscribe to the channel because that's going to be coming out soon, and I definitely do not want you to miss out on that. So more to come on that. So let's go ahead and keep on planning this Disney World trip. It is so beautiful outside. We are definitely going to be talking about the Disney parks out here. So let's pin this hair up because the wind is whipping. But if you didn't know, we live in Kentucky, and so I'm just enjoying that there's sun, that snow's not on the ground. It's been a cold, cold winter. So nonetheless, let's go ahead and get started. What parks to go to and in what order? So what makes the Disney parks so special? Annie would like to join. What is your favorite park, Annie?
Tower of Terror.
Tower of Terror is your very favorite roller coaster, right? And so that means that you love Hollywood Studios? You do. She loves Hollywood Studios. And I'm so glad that you jumped in on the video because I always organize our parks based off of her favorites. So it seems really, really easy, but that is like always the priority that I do. Hollywood Studios is typically our first day park. Hollywood Studios is also maybe one of my favorite parks. I always kind of go back and forth of what is my favorite park, but I love the peace that I have at Hollywood Studios. Like, I love the background music. If I'm going to get like some nostalgia or like just the music, like the music really gets me in the feels. And then walking down Sunset Boulevard, and it's just so peaceful to me. And it's busy, but it's not like hustle and bustle craziness that I feel that is of Magic Kingdom. So it's got a bunch of attractions at Hollywood Studios. But whenever Annie was smaller, I did have a harder time finding something for Annie. So like Alien Swirling Saucers, I believe is a 32-inch height requirement for a child to get on. So she had to hit 32 inches in order to start riding additional rides. Now, of course, you have rides at Hollywood Studios, or I guess attractions at the Hollywood Studios, where you can do the Frozen sing along, which is really funny and enjoyable for the adults as well. You also have Disney Junior Play and Dance with Me, which is really fun. And you don't need a height requirement for those either. A popular ride at Hollywood Studios would be Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, which is adorable. Annie has always loved that ride. It's you're just like in this vehicle where it moves you around different animated scenes, and it's really really fun. But there's not that many rides, like I said, that you don't have to consider or think about the height restrictions. Now Annie is about 43 inches, and she's being able to start riding a lot more rides. Now, again, she is 4 years old, so I did put her on Slinky Dog. I think at the age of 2, like her birthday's in September and she rode it in June, if that gives you any perspective of the height and then how old she is. So, I'm thinking about Hollywood Tower of Terror. I think she was 3 on that one. So I think the only thing that she cannot ride at 43 inches right now in Hollywood Studios is Rock and Roller Coaster. And that's down for refurbishment right now. And then I'm drawing a blank right now, but she can pretty much do majority of the rides. But if you do have some smaller kids and or also older kids, I would definitely consider Hollywood Studios and where you should kind of place that on the map. I will also say that I really do enjoy Fantasmic, which is the nighttime spectacular. And then also kind of going back to those Disney vibes, I truly love nighttime at Hollywood Studios, walking around. It is, again, just so peaceful. I can't think of another word for Hollywood Studios. But Annie really, really does enjoy Toy Story Land, where she has Toy Story Mania. You've got Alien Swirling Saucers, and then you have Slinky Dog, of course, is a popular. And then she also enjoys Star Wars. So that too, where she can do Smuggler's Run. She loves to help Ray out. Ooh, let's not play with it. Mommy's going to have to get water and a soap and actually clean that. And then we have Rise of the Resistance, which she was a little weary on at first because she thought that it was real. She thought that Kylo Ren was after her, but then she started to love it. So she really does love Hollywood Studios, and that typically is how we choose our first day. Now, you may be thinking, okay, you do go quite a bit. I am really wanting like the classic Disney World feel. Well, you're gonna find that at Magic Kingdom. Probably you'll want that to be like one of your first day picks. And if you are limited on the tickets, so like if you just did like a 3-park day ticket or like a 2-park day ticket, I would consider Magic Kingdom needing to be one of those. And then you can choose your second park out of this video, I suppose. So Magic Kingdom, it is very large, but also extremely, extremely kid friendly. My husband kind of gets frustrated at Magic Kingdom because he thinks that he's like, this is the place where like only kids are invited, or like only kids can have the thrill. And I see his perspective. It's definitely more so kid friendly. So no matter what age of children that you have, it's going to fit all of their likes. And again, we do need to consider the height requirements. I would make sure before you go to figure out like what the height of your children are and be prepared for that. Now, I'll also say that one of my favorite things to do with Annie is use her height chart, and it actually shows what rides that she can ride at certain heights, and she loves being able to go up to it and measure herself. So she does have Disneyland charts and then Disney World charts as well, but I would definitely recommend considering that height chart for, communication with your kids, getting them excited for specific rides, or just being real with them of like, maybe not this trip, but the next trip, etc. So, but Magic Kingdom does have a lot of options for kids with various height requirements and or none at all. This is going to be the park that doesn't have as many height requirements. So if you do have children that are smaller and younger, I would consider Magic Kingdom being a first park day, so everybody can kind of start up their vacation like on the right foot, because everybody is so excited. And also, there's nothing like
walking in to Magic Kingdom, as soon as you go underneath the railroad, you go around and then you turn that corner right beside the Emporium and you see the beautiful castle. There's nothing like it. I think it took me years to stop crying as soon as I walked in. But if like the announcement's going off while I'm walking down Main Street USA, like I'm going to start crying again. And that's the same thing with Hollywood Studios. If the announcement welcoming the guests comes on while I'm walking in for the day, count me out. I'm crying. Now, the next two parks I feel that are very controversial. Some people are like, I love Epcot. And some people are like, I literally hate it. It could not be more of a waste of time and money. Well, we are one of those families that actually do like Epcot. There are some outdated rides, but you can tell that Disney is really trying to vamp up Epcot. Hence the years of walls that was in Epcot from like, I guess like 3 years. It took forever, especially with like the pandemic and stuff. I was constantly confused where I was going. But anyway, they're doing a lot in Epcot. So Epcot is a really, really nice mixture of culture and science and learning and just, of course, the future, which was Walt Disney's vision for Epcot. And Annie really loves this place, and I love any opportunity that we can go to that can be educational and fun at the same time. And this is also another reason why I love Disney World and the two parts that I left towards the end, the last two parks, because it can be so educational, whether you are in the play area where Nemo and Friends is, and then you're going into learning about the sharks, whether you're soaring around the world and learning about different countries, whether you are in living with the land and learning about agriculture and science. There's so many different options for you even and your children to learn. They also are really revamping the attractions and making them a little bit more thrill-seeking, we will say. Now, Annie, back to that height requirement. You cannot not talk about the height requirement while planning a Disney World trip. So Annie recently hit the height requirement for Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, and that's one of Epcot's newest attractions. And she, again, is 4 years old, and I think the height requirement is 42 inches, and she loved it. Now, I was a little nervous about putting her on it because it is a wild and crazy ride, and that's the only thing that I could.
Going backwards.
It was going backwards, and it was going crazy, and that was really the only explanation that I could give her of like, it's fast and crazy and wild, and she wanted to know if it was bumpy, etc. But it wasn't. It was really smooth, wasn't it?
No, it was bumpy.
Oh, you think it was bumpy? It was a crazy ride. So
I was saying, oh my God,
yeah, you was going crazy. And if your kid is not into the thrill-seeking activities that is of Epcot, you do have your fun, more recent rides such as Frozen Ever After and Remy's Ratatouille, which is like, they're really good rides for the entire family. Whenever Annie was smaller with Frozen Ever After, it would scare her when the snow monster would pop up and he was like, don't come back. And eventually she stopped crying, but she kept on wanting to go back to that ride. But Epcot is super, super fun. And I know I mentioned it to you earlier about the Flower and Garden Festival. Epcot is known for their festivals. So in the winter, they have Festival of the Arts, which is the shortest lived festival of all the festivals. And that one's really, really fun too. So if you're still contemplating what type of year that you're going to be going to Disney World, I would put that in like a win category for Festival of the Arts. They've got chalk artists that make beautiful murals all over the concrete. They have a kids section where the kids can go and play with chalk. There's this huge wall that you go up and get a specific color and a specific number. They give you like a paintbrush, and you can go to this big wall and you paint in your square, and it eventually just makes this huge mural. It's absolutely gorgeous. There's artwork all over the park. It is a really fun, interactive
festival that Epcot puts on. And then of course you have to talk about the food and the food booths that are in different countries in World Showcase. And then the Flower and Garden Festival. Of course, there's flowers everywhere, and they have all these beautiful sculptures of all the Disney characters, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Again, all different types of food booths all around World Showcase. It truly is stunning with the artistry of these flowers and the plants and the shrubbery. Gorgeous. And then in the fall, you have the Food and Wine Festival, which is also a really fun one. Now, whenever Tyler's my husband, if you are new to this channel, whenever we were young and cool, we did do the wine walk around the World Showcase, which was really fun. And then this is really known for the food booths. Like if you're a foodie, this is probably one of those wins that you need to put in. What time of the year do I need to go to Disney World? It would be that time, because there's an array of different foods that you can just kind of hop around. And then also, if you're one that likes to drink specific beverages, that would be also another fun moment for you. And then obviously at November, December, around the holidays, you have Festival of the Holidays, where it is absolutely stunning with the Christmas magic. You've got all the beautiful trees all over World Showcase, all over Epcot, and it's really stunning. Again, back to that food thing, but not as big as the Food and Wine Festival. So it's really, really fun park to go to. It's very futuristic, but also nods its hat to the past of Epcot and Walt Disney's vision. So we do like it. I feel like there's not as many rides, but also at the same time, during certain times of the year, I don't think you necessarily need Lightning Lane. So that could save you some money, because rides such as Figment, Living with the Land, Nemo, those things typically have a shorter wait time. And one thing that I did not mention, I can't believe I forgot, but would be Moana's Journey of water. It's really, really amazing. So on a hot day, you can go in there and get as wet as you want, or keep as dry as you want. There's some fountains, there's some interactive waterways that, like, if you push your hands up all together, like the big water waves shoot up, or there's like this one thing where you can put your hand in, and then as you come up, the water comes up with you. And then there's like, when you're walking through a tunnel, there's rain coming down, but then it spreads open for you to walk through. So again, like if you're really hot, or if your kiddos are really, really hot, this would be a really great place to cool down. And I do remember as a child, it does remind me, whenever I was little, I think it was in front of Figment, where they had like these jumping fountains all over, and my parents would let me and my brother go and get wet and cool down. This is the same idea. They don't have those anymore, obviously, but this would be the same idea of kind of offering an option to cool down. Again, if you want to be wet and cool down, you can. If you want to keep dry, there's also options there. And now, Animal Kingdom. We are still struggling with Animal Kingdom, and I don't know if this is going to help you or make it worse, because I have a very unhealthy relationship with Animal Kingdom. But this is not about me. This is about relaying all the information to you. So whenever Annie was an infant, whenever she was really small, truly loved Animal Kingdom. I remember my husband and I just walking around and Annie in the stroller, and it was a place where Annie could really relax. Like the background sounds, just I guess the greenery, there was plenty of colors and things to see, and it really wasn't really hustly and bustly. It's a very peaceful park, and so it was a place that Annie could really calm down, especially on the trails. So like there's the gorilla trails, there's like the tigers, you can see the tigers. So there's plenty of walking trails that you can go on to see. I mean, they're everywhere. Those are just two major ones, but like they're everywhere if you pay attention. And there's little signs, like little plaques that talk about the animals that you're going to be seeing. But anyway, there's plenty of things to see. and it's very, very peaceful. And if your children love animals, like you are gonna have to go to this park. Tyler, it was his favorite park for years. And then as Annie started getting older and was really attracted to the attractions and the thrill, she kind of fell out of love with Animal Kingdom. And because I say that, whenever you're looking up at the height requirements with Animal Kingdom, they are much higher. Of course, you have some shows, you have I still to this day, I don't know how many times I've been to Disney World and I have never done It's Tough to Be a Bug. I've heard horror stories. I haven't done it, but they're getting away with that anyway, but so I don't have to worry about it. But then you've got like Dino Land, and that is like a carnival in a parking lot, and of course that's gone too. So they are trying to revamp this park, but Annie just was not attracted to it. Now, whenever she started getting taller, she was able to ride Cali River Rapids. Of course, Kilimanjaro Safari is beautiful. You've got Navi River in Pandora, but she can't do Flight of Passage. So there's very limited attractions, and Annie is the like thrill seeker type.
Found a kitty cat.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Go.
She's fine. She's fine. I let her out. So if you're trying to choose between Epcot and Animal Kingdom, let's just use those two, for example, and you have a child that's a thrill seeker and loves attractions versus a kid that like wants to see all the animals, and like there's a petting area in Animal Kingdom too, and wants to pet them and sees all the giraffes and zebras, all the things, like that could be a deciding factor for you. Like, are we a thrill seeker or are we like going for a peaceful day? So Animal Kingdom, I'm still trying to fall in love with it. Now, I just posted a video of our Animal Kingdom Day vlog, and I don't know whether you all can just see it on my face or what, but that video was a blow. Like, we did the Festival of the Lion King, we got reserved seating. Because of Annie's baby doll, who Annie told the cast member that like it was his first time watching Festival of the Lion King, and so he was like, oh, congratulations, your baby doll and you and your family get to have reserved seating on the front row. So like, I don't know if you all can like feel the vibes of like Animal Kingdom's not my favorite and I'm not super passionate about it, but I truly am trying to fall in love with it. But that's just because our family is more like, let's ride more fun rides rather than let's just walk around in a circle and then like look at the animals. The animals are beautiful, don't get me wrong, but once you see the zebra 20 times, I mean, I guess we can see it for the 21st time, but if you have plenty of time to jump into Animal Kingdom, that goes back to that planning thing. If you're there for a long time, go see Animal Kingdom. You've got to experience it all. But if you are limited to that 2-day park ticket, or you're just choosing one day, I would not prefer it. But to each their own. Again, that is why I'm giving you all the information. But I will say the most important thing for you to know is the height requirement. Let's now talk about dining options and magical extras. And one thing that I want to show you guys is the free planning tool that I'm going to pop up on the screen for you guys. In addition, the link will be in the description, and it's a free gift to you for just being supportive, subscribing to the channel, liking this video, all the things. Just thank you, thank you, thank you. So that is a free planning tool for you to use for you and your upcoming vacation. So dining, what are we going to eat? We've got to be able to eat when we are at Disney World. So again, from a budget standpoint, we can be very budget friendly with ordering groceries. Like I said, breakfast in the room, whether that's muffins, whether that is some fruit. I've done like little single size yogurts before, the yogurt smoothies, applesauce pouches, even like deli meats, and you can have sandwiches for lunch if you choose to do so. And then also snacks and drinks. If you are a family that likes to have like electrolyte drinks, we love Body Armor. Instead of opting in for the refillable mug or buying a drink every time you're wanting one, that can add up. So there's plenty of options from a budget saving standpoint. And like I showed you guys, if you are to opt in for the dining plan, that only covers a certain amount of food while you're on your trip, but let's talk about like the actual dining. So whether you are using the dining option or you're just trying to figure out like what are we going to eat or where can we eat. So most dining, you're either going to do quick service or you're going to have to reserve. There are the quick service is more so like your fast food restaurant, but Disney edition. And then your dining where it is a sit down meal, whether that is just sitting down and that you've got your menu, or this is where you're going to see like the character meals. So if you wanted to see all the princesses, maybe Akershus and Epcot would be a really great option for you. One of my favorite breakfasts with characters is Garden Grill in Epcot as well. Epcot has some good food. I think we've already talked about that with that specific park. So if you want to do a resort with a character meal, you've got Contemporary with Chef Mickey's, or you have Cape May over at the Beach Club. You've got your characters there as well, and that is more so like a buffet style. If you don't want a character meal, some options would be Boma or Sanaa or Le Cellier in Epcot again. But I always find it really fun to be able to mix your meals with either between a resort or the actual parks. So maybe for Magic Kingdom, if you're going to Magic Kingdom, a great character dinner to me would be Crystal Palace. That's more so like a family style now. There's been different options between how you actually got your food, but the last time we were there, it was more so like a family style. And then if you don't want a character meal, one of our favorite restaurants would be Tony's in Magic Kingdom. That is more like an Italian restaurant. It's really yummy. It is still themed with Lady and the Tramp, but Lady and the Tramp, like nobody is there. There's no characters. So just depends on what your family wants. Whenever you are planning out your dining, I would prioritize making sure that it's going to be a menu that your family likes, or especially if you have children or a picky family. So we always have luck with Italian restaurants. So I know I've mentioned Tony's, or you have Mama Melrose in Hollywood Studios. That's really great Italian food. If you're a steak family, we are a steak family, maybe you don't want to go to a park. Maybe you don't want to go to a resort. Maybe you're heading out to Disney Springs. The Boathouse is a fantastic option for you to eat. It's one of our favorite steak restaurants. Or if you want to go to a resort and eat steak, the Yachtman's at the Yacht Club would be really, really yummy. So there's tons of different options out there. So make sure you do your research. But how are we going to plan it out? So you want to be strategic, of course. So I find it very, very important that whenever you are planning out your days of when you're going, what you're going to do, and that's what that planning tool is for. So you can kind of organize like what you're going to do in the morning, what you're going to do midday, and what you're going to do in the evening. That way you can kind of paint a picture when you're at that 60-day out mark, that you can say, okay, we want to do like a breakfast that morning before we really get into our rides, or before all of our lightning lanes start. Or maybe we want an early entry. We're going to push a breakfast off really, really late, like a brunch type of time frame. And then, that way we can get all of our rides done before we eat like an actual heavy breakfast. Maybe you had like a small light breakfast to get you to a late breakfast, early lunch type of meal. So that's why I have that organized the way that it is for the morning, midday, and then the evening. So you can put your dining in there, or like paint a picture of really what's going to work for you. Or if you have that park hopper, then maybe you're in Magic Kingdom that morning and you want to eat breakfast in Cinderella's castle, then you can eat breakfast there. And then in the evening, if you're going to, I don't know, Hollywood Studios and you want to eat Hollywood Brown Derby, like there's many different options, but this is really nice visual for me that I can kind of paint the picture of what I'm going to go into on my 60 days out. I actually love a good rest day. Like those are my favorite types of days. Not that I hate the parks, but the resorts are so nice and I'm spending a lot of money on the resort. So why am I not going to enjoy the amenities there? That doesn't make sense. So it also goes back to whenever we were budgeting and trying to find our stay of our accommodation. Is it worth spending the extra money to be able to enjoy a rest day and for my child to enjoy the pool day? Or am I going to be in the park from morning till night? Then probably I don't need to enjoy the amenities of like the cheapest option, which would be with All Stars. And they don't have that great, phenomenal, like bells and whistles pool. There's pools, there's some characters everywhere, which is really fun for the kids. But they don't have like the 0 to 2 foot walk-in level entry, and then they don't have like the fountains and the splash pads like you would find at more of your moderate and more so your deluxe resorts. So I love a rest day, and this is really where I take advantage of the resort restaurants and Disney Spring restaurants, because if I was paying for a ticket and it was my day of the park, I don't want to have to commute over to a resort. Let's say we're going to have dinner at the Grand Floridian and at Park Fair, and then I'm wanting to go to Hollywood Studios that night. That doesn't make sense. What could possibly make sense is if it's a Magic Kingdom night, you can start at Grand Floridian and you're planning, and then go over to Magic Kingdom. But my rest days are my favorite because I can resort hop to eat. So if I was going to eat at Sanaa at Animal Kingdom Lodge, then I can do that. And I don't feel rushed whenever I have to go into a park. Or maybe I don't have a park ticket and we're just going to go shopping at Disney Springs, and we're going to go to eat at Homecoming, and we're going to have us a good Southern meal. So try your best to plan out. And whenever you're at that 60 days out, that releases at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And on that 60-day out of your arrival day, you will be able to log on to Disney, either on your MacBook or computer, whatever you have, and or the app, and then you can start reserving your dining. Now, if you want a step-by-step of how to reserve your dining, make sure to check out this video at the end of this video. So make sure that you're going in prepared, you have an idea of the menus, your budgets, because whenever you are on that Disney Experience app, you can go to the restaurants and it's going to lay out all the prices, it's going to lay out the entire menu, because some of these restaurants, their menus change. And some of them actually, I feel like they change more often than not. So keep up to date on those dinings and go in with a plan using that planning tool. Now, I know I mentioned magical extras, and some people might not really know what that is, and some of you all might know what it is. Some of the most popular magical extras would be something such as Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, or maybe you want to go golfing. That's another popular one. Or fireworks on the boat, and you want to stay out in Bay Lake and watch the fireworks. There's many magical offerings. Another one is there's certain cabanas at certain deluxe resorts. So if you wanted to rent out a cabana with a butler and you've got a TV in there and snacks, etc. They are very limited, but that is an option that would be considered a magical extra. Now, with magical extras, specifically like Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, you do have to get that magical extra 60 days out, but it is different from your dining. So your dining, you're getting on there at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, but with Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, you're going to have to get on your computer at midnight Eastern Standard Time, the 60-day out, to be able to capture that magical extra. Now, with things such as golf, you don't really have to get on that 60-day out mark. You can go to the golf website and make a reservation, or a tee time more so. Or if you wanted to go on a horse-drawn carriage, it's recommended to do 60 days out, but not necessarily. Now, let me also give you a secret that you might not know how to do. Now, I know I mentioned with my upcoming trip, this is my itinerary. and I'll blur out the dates just for our safety. But this is my itinerary, or like a rough draft of my itinerary, and you'll see that I've got some things on there. I've already got the post dessert party that we'll be doing because this is my birthday trip. It is a girls trip, but I'm trying to do all the birthday celebrations, all my favorites type of thing. So I do have some restaurants that I think that I want to add on there, but you'll see that we're going to Topolino's for breakfast. That is a very hard to get popular restaurant for Disney. So, and it's at the Riviera. So it's going to be like right across the way. So I don't really have to think about like the commute, which is really, really nice. And that's partially why I also chose the Caribbean as our resort. So we are going to do that. And the other thing that I do not have reserved quite yet, but I feel pretty confident that I'll be getting it because I use mousedining.com, and this has proven to work for me my entire existence, or its existence, I suppose. I don't really know how long it's been around. But what Mouse Dining is it's an alert system where whenever you're trying to get some sort of reservation, whether that being Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, which is sometimes really, really hard to get, or whether that being your Topolino's restaurant, whether that being the Fantasmic dining package, which a little bit more on that I'll try to explain to you what that necessarily is. But I have alerts for the Fantasmic dining package that I'm really anticipating on doing. Now, the reason why I love the Fantasmic dining package is because I'm going to go dine at one of the dining package restaurants. I'm going to go dine there. Preferably, I want to eat dinner there in Hollywood Studios. And I will get a ticket after I eat, and that ticket will get me, one, the best seating at Fantasmic, and two, I don't have to stand in line. It's a separate line that you go in, you give them your tickets, and they usher you into the very center of the theater. So one, I'm saving time. Two, I'm getting a really, really great seat. And I just cannot stand in line for an hour, especially with Annie. It's just not possible. So I really, really love that Disney offers these dining packages. Now, with the Fantasmic dining package, there you have Hollywood and Vine, you have Mama Melrose, you have Sci-Fi, and then 50s prime time. And I think I have the 3 alerts for 3 of the restaurants, not all 4 of them, but 3 of the restaurants. And there's a free service that you can do where it's going to email you, but I just don't check my email enough. And whenever that alert comes over for specifically like really, really top things that really go fast, like I need to be able to click it and reserve it really, really quickly. So the free version, I've not had as much success. I feel like I did maybe once or twice, but I'm telling you, like the hard to get things, and we're going around spring break, which is like a high peak crowd time, that I'm doing the $9 service where they're just going to send me a text, and that has proven to work for me tremendously. Like I have a lot more success doing the $9, and then I can just cancel it at the end of the month. So under the 30-day mark, that's whenever I started my alerts, and I really am anticipating that I'm going to have some really good luck. So I know that this video is going to come out before we actually leave for our trip. So write in the comments if you have any suggestions that I should do or go eat from a dining perspective for my birthday, and tell me why I should do it. So write them in the comments really quick. I know we already talked a little bit about some snacks in the parks and like a little budget-friendly saving tips, but let's grow on that a bit on how to prepare for actually being in the parks. Now, you might be saying, why do you need to plan for being in the parks? Well, that's a very large question because Disney World is not somewhere that you can actually just show up and things be really, really easy. And I wish that was the case. This is not 1990 anymore, and we have to go in with a plan, whether that being you need to plan for your lightning lanes. Again, the planning tool is going to help you with that and kind of organize your thoughts of the tier 2s, the tier 1, and all the things for the lightning lanes. And that's a whole other video that would take
quite a bit of time to break down for you guys. So we're not going to do that today, but I will again remind you to use that planning tool and organize your lightning lanes on the right side of that paper. But let's talk about actually like planning and being in the parks. So one thing that I think is extremely important is what you wear into the parks. And let's start with our feet. Now, when you are at Disney World, you are walking a lot, and your children are walking a lot. So make sure that you are wearing extremely comfortable shoes and you're bringing different types of shoes. So again, we are the type of family that does not go from morning to night. So it's a lot easier for us to be able to switch our shoes midday, because we might go into the park that morning with my on clouds, and then we go back to the resort midday, go to the pool, and then we go back out that night, and I might be wearing my sandals, or like even a fashion sandal because I'm not in the park for that long of the evening time, or maybe my Croc sandals. So it's a lot easier for me to switch out my shoes. But whenever you are there from like morning till night, that might be something that you need to think about. So whether that's bringing in or wearing your sneakers in for the day and then changing into some Sanuk sandals, which are very, very comfortable, or your Teva sandals, options. Doesn't necessarily mean that you have to bring an entire new wardrobe, but make sure that you're bringing multiple types of shoes. And whenever I'm packing, or like on my Pack With Me videos, sometimes somebody will comment and say like, you overpack, blah, blah, blah. But yes, I probably do overpack because that's just how my brain operates. But also at the same time, you have to kind of overpack. Like, you bringing one pair of shoes to me is really not ideal, just in case either also it rains and your feet are soaked. Some of these parks hold water and your feet will get really, really wet. That is the worst of having wet feet. So that is just an easy way to bring maybe even more than one type of sneaker. And then also, whenever I mentioned the kids, yes, they need comfortable shoes, but I'm also thinking about the stroller. Make sure that you check out my stroller setup, because that's going to break down all the things that you're gonna need. And also, I am really honest whenever I'm saying like, this is a necessity, this is not a necessity, this is gonna make your life easier, and this is why. So you definitely need to go in with a plan of what you're gonna be carrying in with you, whether that is with a stroller or if that is with your backpack. Maybe you wanna bring in a small lunchbox with your water and your snacks, and or you wanna have lunch on the Hub Grass in Magic Kingdom. There's various options of what can make your life a lot easier, but you have to go in with the plan. I also don't think it's a really bad idea if you brought Band-Aids. Yes, that there is first aid there, but it's a lot easier just to bring Band-Aids with you. I know Annie was running one day. We were leaving Epcot and we were staying at the yacht club. She was running, she tripped and fell, and her knees were tore to pieces. I did not have Band-Aids with me, so I go into the yacht club and I'm like, I need help, blah, blah, blah. And it just took way too long. So a small first aid kit is definitely not a bad idea. Maybe some electrolytes to stay hydrated. So when you go in, you need to prioritize comfort, hydration, and try to keep yourself cool. So maybe some fans. And then also, you need to make sure that you have a portable charger. I feel like that's more of a bang for your buck. If you want to use the fuel rods that Disney offers in the parks, you can obviously, but you need some sort of charging device that's going to keep your phone charged, because that My Disney Experience app is going to help you so much. So speaking of planning, you need to make sure that you are very familiar and comfortable with the My Disney Experience app, whether that is going through and getting extra lightning lanes, or going through and trying to see what the wait times are for attractions, or even a quick service, or doing a mobile order to pick up your quick service or your fast food
restaurant type of food while you're on a ride. Maybe you want to find where the characters are. That's another big one of the planning of where are the characters? Where can I fit in my characters, and not just doing certain attractions, but you can really enjoy meeting Mickey or walking around World Showcase and seeing Belle and Aurora and Mulan. So plenty of things to see and do and organize on the My Disney Experience app. And on the My Disney Experience app, you can also, speaking of the characters or even attractions, you can click that filter button in the top and you can go to just a specific park. And even Disney Springs, you can go to a specific park and you can see where something is on the map, and it's got like a GPS setting to it, and it can take you, quite literally take you to that location. So definitely get yourself comfortable with the My Disney Experience app, but you're going to need to bring in to the park some sort of charging device. But again, I want to underline that it's very important to be comfortable, and it's very, 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 very important to stay hydrated. Don't forget to eat, because the heat, no food does not work well. Make sure to eat, bring snacks if you need to, drink water, especially on those hot months. And typically they're like 11 out of 12 of the months, they're very, very hot. You could be one day like very cold, and then the next day you could be sweating and it's 90 degrees. Like, you got to get used to it. So, and then another one, check the weather like a ton. The last time that we were at Disney in the January, the cold month, there was a few people that we saw that you could tell that they didn't look at the weather at all, like not even once. And I felt bad for them because they were in shorts in 30-degree weather on a vacation, and that's just not it. So be prepared, maybe bring some ponchos, some rain gear. Like, you never know when the rain's going to come. A stroller, rain cover, that's really, really important, especially if you have little ones. And all of this that I'm recommending, I will have in the description. So don't worry, I'll just lay it all out for you, and things will be okay. But again, just prioritize taking care of yourself. That is the most important thing when going to Disney World. I know, it's a lot. Disney planning takes a lot of energy, and today has a lot of information. So I appreciate you sticking with me. We have one more, a very important part of this video, maybe one of the most important parts. And that's you, mama. Listen, being a mom is so hard. I get it. You're busy. You're being pulled in a million different directions, and then you got the wild idea to go to Disney World. It's a lot. It's a lot of planning, and more often than none, I'm not going to hate on the men, because I'm not, but more often than none, it's the mom that's really trying to plan and organize this out. And so this section, I really wanted to set aside for all the mamas that are trying their best to plan a Disney vacation. And something that I always tell my family is, I am the magic. I am the one that is making these magical moments. I am the one that's making this feel to you guys that it is seamless and it is easy, and all of a sudden you show up and you skip the lines and you're riding the most popular rides and you have just this amazing itinerary, because I'm the magic. I created the magic with Disney and Mickey Mouse's help, of course. I definitely wanted to underline for you moms out there that are planning their Disney World trips for their family. You want some time away. I get it. You want some undivided attention just for your family unit to go have some magical times away, while adding that it is not a cheap trip. I get it. There's a lot on the line. Like, nobody wants to go all the way to Disney World and spend all this money and have a horrible time and not go exactly to plan. And that's what I'm here to tell you. Everything's not going to be perfect. It's not going to go the exact way that you want it to. And I don't say that to be a Debbie Downer, but I say that to remind you to give yourself grace in this entire process, because planning a Disney World trip, it's not easy. There's a lot of thoughts, preparations, itineraries that go into this. And I'm not saying that I'm one person that is going to literally draw out every single hour that we are at Disney World, because I'm not. There's a lot of times that I'm like, you know what, let's just go with the flow. Whatever happens, happens. But there also has to be some sort of structure. We have to go eat somewhere. Like, we have to have dinner. I have to be able to make sure that my family is fed. So I really want you to know that there's grace available for whenever something goes wrong. Maybe the rides got shut down because of the weather. Maybe the Skyliner got shut down. Disney's not perfect. Life happens. I think if you followed me for any amount of time on YouTube, that you know that things happen, because Disney is not perfect. It is really, like, that's why I keep saying, like, we are the magic, the family time that Disney has created for you to come together, the memories and the moments and the precious times that you can look back on in hindsight when you're swirling on the teacups in Magic Kingdom and you see your sweet precious child's smile whenever you are watching The Lion King, the Festival of the Lion King in Animal Kingdom, and your kid is just, their eyes are glistening and they're giggling and they're so happy. These are the times where I want you all to be able to focus on and not be so indulged in making sure that everything is perfect. We had a literal resort. Our resort, literally, we got kicked out of it because there was a water leak issue. Things happen. Disney's not perfect. But what you can control is how you react to it. And that's the best way to do it is, you know what? This is happening. I'm going to overcome it and we're going to move on. This didn't work out. We're going to overcome it and we're going to move on, because this time is so precious together. And, you know, you want to make the most of it. And if you're like me, I know you are, because you wouldn't be here if you were not a busy mom, because busy moms are just busy moms and we're just crazy. But it is so precious to me, specifically because I'm a working mom and I spend so much time away from my family, that these vacations, like, I have my guard up. I have my barrier up that no thing is going to mess up the precious moments in time that I have with my family. So I want to encourage you to go into this with grace, and grace towards yourself, grace to your children as well, because that place can be overstimulating and it's exhausting if you don't take time to rest, if you don't have rest days. Like, we are the family that needs rest days. If you don't take the time to be able to sleep in, go to bed early at some point, kind of come into some sort of regular schedule that your children or your family can kind of grasp onto, like, this is different, but similar enough that we're not going to have as many meltdowns. So try to keep things as normal as possible while enjoying the magic of Disney. But give yourself grace, give your kids grace, because it can be overstimulating and everybody's tired. Emotions can get high. That's why I say it's very important to rest and take a rest day if that is at all possible in your itinerary. But again, Mama, you're doing an amazing job, and I think it is incredibly thoughtful and kind to want to spend this type of money for you and your family, and to really put in the time and the energy to have a vacation that is not just showing up at the beach. Like, this is not a beach vacation. You're not just showing up and playing sandcastles. This is a lot of work that I hope that your family can appreciate. I just hope that you can feel my emotions that coming through this screen that is of encouragement, and that this is a place that I hope that you can feel heard, encouraged, and I just want you to have the best time at Disney World, because it truly is magical. And Mama, you are truly the magic. If you are looking for more tips, tricks, hacks, vlogs, all the things, make sure, if you have not yet, click the subscribe button, because I'm here to help you through this entire process from many experiences at Disney World. Like this video because it truly does help me out. Share to a friend because I really do appreciate it. And I hope to see you on the next one. Bye.